Ethan Cole never imagined that signing a piece of paper could change his entire life. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Union shimmered with alien lights. Giant holograms floated above the crowd, displaying the flags of 100 different civilizations. The air was filled with a strange mix of scent-sweet, metallic, and something that reminded him faintly of burnt sugar. Ethan stood stiffly at the center stage, wearing the ceremonial white suit of Earth's delegation. Behind him, the President of Earth was smiling proudly. In front of him, thousands of alien ambassadors watched in silence. By this signature, the Galactic Chancellor announced, in a deep, echoing voice, humanity officially joins the Union of Stars. The crowd erupted into strange, musical applause. Some species clapped with hands. Others clicked their mandibles or vibrated their wings to create sound. Ethan forced a smile and nodded politely. Idly, he thought this would be the end of his diplomatic duty. Sign the treaty, shake a few alien hands, maybe give a speech. Simple. But then came the fine print. A holographic contract appeared in front of him, scrolling faster than he could read. Ethan blinked in confusion. The Chancellor's voice thundered again. As per the ancient law of cultural integration, the Chancellor declared, each newly admitted species shall form sacred bonds of union with member civilizations, ensuring peace and cooperation for all future generations. Ethan frowned. What does that mean exactly? The translator drone hovering beside him beeped helpfully. It means, it said in a cheerful tone, you are now required to enter political marriage alliances with selected representatives of the Union. Congratulations, spouse. The hall roared with approval. Ethan's jaw dropped. Wait, marriage? But it was too late. 3 figures stepped forward from the crowd, each completely different from the other, and none even. Close to human, the first was a towering reptilian warrior. Her scales shimmered like polished emeralds, and her golden eyes locked onto Ethan with a look that was both threatening and curious. She wore armor made of black crystal and carried a blade almost as long as his body. When she spoke, her voice was a low, dangerous growl. I am Kaviera of the Varkesh Dominion, she said. By our traditions, I claim you as my mate. Will prove your strength, or you will perish. Ethan took an instinctive step back. Hi. The second was a sleek, elegant figure with smooth blue skin and translucent hair that floated, like it was underwater. She moved with calm precision, her large silver eyes studying him like a scientist observing a rare insect. She didn't smile. She didn't even blink. I am Lyzes of the Ossian Collective, she said in a soft, echoing tone. You are biologically interesting. I will accept this bond for research purposes. Please do not resist. Ethan's mind went blank. Research purposes? Resist? Was she serious? Then the third figure appeared. She was small, delicate, and had pale feathers instead of hair. Her wings were folded tightly against her back, trembling as if she was afraid. Her huge golden eyes darted nervously between Ethan and the crowd. I am Ariel, she whispered, her voice so soft he barely heard it. I do not wish this marriage, but my people say it is the only way to keep me safe. She looked at him with pleading eyes, as if silently begging him not to reject her. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. The crowd cheered louder. Chancellor raised his arms. By the will of the Union, the human Ethan Cole is now wed to Kavira of the Varkesh, Lyzes of the Ossian, and Ariel of the Celian Skyborn. May their union bring everlasting peace. Ethan felt the world spinning around him. He wanted to protest, to say there must have been a mistake, but the hall was already celebrating. Confetti-like alien spores rained from the ceiling. Strange music filled the air. Somewhere behind him, the Earth President gave him a thumbs up like this was the greatest achievement of his career. Ethan swallowed hard. He was married, not once, not twice, 3 times, and he had absolutely no clue what to do next. Ethan couldn't sleep that night. The Union had assigned him a luxurious diplomatic suite inside a massive space station orbiting a golden planet. The room was decorated with strange alien art, glowing crystals, and furniture that didn't seem built for humans. But no matter how soft the floating bed was, Ethan lay awake, staring at the ceiling, married to 3 aliens. Before he could process the madness, the door hissed open. He sat up instantly. Standing in the doorway was Kavira. She was even more terrifying up close. The reptilian warrior moved with a silent, predatory grace. Her green-scaled armor gleamed under the pale lights. Her golden eyes glowed faintly in the dark. She wasn't holding her blade now. But Ethan still felt like prey under her piercing stare. "You are awake," she said, her voice low and sharp. Yeah, can't really sleep after all this." Ethan gave a nervous laugh. "So, Kavira, right? What can I do for you?" She stepped inside, the door ceiling shut behind her. "You are my mate now, but I do not accept weak mates." Ethan blinked. "Excuse me?" She tilted her head, narrowing her eyes. "Among my people, marriage is a trial. The bond is only real if the mate survives the test. If you cannot prove strength, I am required to end you and choose another." His mouth went dry. Wait, hold on. You're saying you're going to kill me if I'm not strong enough?" She took a step closer, her towering figure casting a long shadow over him. "If you fail, yes, it is law." Ethan's heart pounded like a drum. "That's a terrible law." Kavira didn't flinch. "'Tis the way of the Varkesh. We do not bond with the weak. A mate must fight, or at least try. Show me your strength, human, or die a coward." Ethan looked around desperately. "Fight." "I don't even have a weapon." Kavira smirked, revealing sharp teeth. "You are the weapon. Defend yourself." Before he could protest, she lunged. Ethan yelped and rolled off the bed just as her clawed hand slammed into the mattress, leaving a deep dent. He scrambled to his feet. Okay, think, Ethan. What would a brave hero do? But Ethan was no hero. He was a diplomat who barely survived gym class. Kavira advanced again, her movements like a hunting beast.
Ow!
She swung at him, slow. Enough for him to dodge, but fast enough to scare him half to death. He tripped over the strange alien carpet and landed flat on his back. "You disappoint me?" Kavira said, raising her claw for the final strike. "Wait," Ethan shouted, holding up his hands. I can't fight you, but I can talk, and I can outsmart you. That's what humans do. We don't have claws or armor, but we think." Kavira paused, her golden eyes narrowing. "I'm not your enemy," Ethan said quickly, his voice trembling but steadying with each word. "Where I come from, strength isn't just about muscles. It's about courage. It's about refusing to give up, even when you're afraid. And right now, I'm terrified. But I'm still standing here facing you. Isn't that strength?" The room fell silent. Kavira slowly lowered her claw. She stared at him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then, to his shock, she let out a deep, rumbling laugh. "Interesting," she said. "You are weak, but not a coward. Perhaps there is some fire in you after all?" Ethan exhaled, his knees shaking. "So, you're not going to kill me?" "Not tonight," she said with a smirk. "You have earned another day." She turned and walked out of the room, her heavy armor clinking softly. Before leaving, she glanced back at him one last time. "Tomorrow, human," she said, "we train." The door slid shut, leaving Ethan alone, pale and trembling. He sat on the floor, clutching his chest. "Great," he muttered. "I survived. My first alien wife, and now she wants to train me. What does that even mean?" He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. But one thing was certain: if Kavira didn't kill him, the stress might. The next morning, Ethan woke up sore. Not from actual training. Kavira had simply dragged him into the station's gym to observe his pitiful human endurance. She watched him try and fail to lift alien weights while shaking her head in disappointment. By the end of the session, Ethan was exhausted, humiliated, and very aware that Kavira thought of him as a weak hatchling. So when he returned to his quarters and found Liz's waiting for him, he almost fainted. Liz's was sitting silently in the middle of the room. She wasn't on a chair. She was hovering slightly above the floor in some kind of shimmering energy field. Her translucent hair floated as if under water, glowing faintly with soft blue light. She had no expression, no hint of emotion, just those large silver eyes that followed his every move. Ethan froze. Hi. You're Liz's, right? Yes, she said in a calm, echoing voice. You are the human specimen. He blinked. Specimen. Liza tilted her head slowly, like she was studying a new insect. Your physiology is unusual. Your internal structure is inefficient. Your brain operates on slow chemical impulses. Yet somehow your species achieved space. Travel. She drifted closer, her glowing fingers clasped behind her back. I find this fascinating. Ethan took a small step back. I'm not a lab rat, you know. You are my husband, Liza corrected softly. Therefore, I must understand you completely. Before he could respond, she extended one slender hand. A thin beam of blue light scanned across his body. From head to toe, Ethan shivered. What was that? A harmless molecular scan, she replied. I have already detected multiple biological flaws. Your bones are fragile compared to most species. Your vision is limited. And her eyes narrowed slightly. You require sleep for nearly a third of your day cycle. Astonishingly inefficient. Ethan sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. Yeah, well, humans aren't perfect, okay? Lysis floated around him, her movements slow and precise, like she was circling a rare artifact. And yet you survive. Why? She murmured. What hidden advantage keeps such a soft, fragile creature alive in a violent galaxy? Her gaze locked onto his eyes. For a moment, Ethan felt like she could see inside his soul. He swallowed hard. Maybe it's our ability to adapt, to work together, think of new ways to solve problems. Liza's blinked once, slowly. Interesting answer. But I require more data. More data? Wait, what are you suddenly? She was very close to him. Her cool, glowing fingers brushed against his wrist, sending a strange chill up his arm. She pressed lightly, feeling his pulse. Your heart. Rate increases when I approach, she observed. Is this fear? Or another human response? Ethan's face went red. It's both, probably. She didn't seem to understand embarrassment. Your emotional spectrum is complex, she whispered. I will need to study this. In depth. Ethan stepped back, trying to create space. Listen, Lysis, I don't mind talking, but can we do it without all the scanning and touching? I'm a person, not an experiment. Lysis blinked again, as if processing his words. Then, slowly, she tilted her head. You dislike being observed. Yes, Ethan said. Humans value privacy. We don't like feeling like animals in a lab. There was a long pause. Lysis floated back a little, her glowing aura dimming. For the first time, she looked unsure. I see, she murmured. I did not intend to harm your comfort. My species does not understand these boundaries. We share thoughts and data freely. But you are different. Her voice softened, almost like a whisper. I will. Try to adjust. Ethan blinked in surprise. Hadn't expected her to listen. For a moment, the room was silent. Lysis drifted away, settling back into her calm, hovering pose. You are unlike any species I have studied, she said. Fragile, emotional, yet there is something. Something what? He asked. She didn't answer. At him with those silver eyes that, for just a second, didn't seem cold. I will learn, she said softly, and maybe understand. Then she turned and glided out of the room, silent as a shadow. Ethan sat down heavily on the edge of his bed. Great, he muttered. One wife wants to fight me. The other wants to study me. What's next? But a small, strange thought stayed in his mind beneath Lies's cold curiosity. There had been a flicker of something almost, gentled almost. The station's artificial night was quiet. Soft lights glowed dimly in the corridors, and most alien delegates were resting in their private quarters. Ethan was finally alone, sipping a cup of strange alien tea that tasted vaguely like mint. And honey, for the first time in 2 days, No one was scanning him, challenging him to a fight, or threatening his life. He almost relaxed. Then he heard a soft sound at the door. It wasn't a knock. It was more like a gentle flutter, like a bird brushing its wings against the wall. Ethan stood up, confused. Hello?" The door slid open slowly, and there she was, Ariel. She stepped inside quietly, almost like she was afraid of. Making noise? She was so different from Kavira and Lizzie's. Her frame was delicate, almost too thin, and her feathers shimmered in pale silver and soft gold. Her folded wings trembled slightly, and her golden eyes were wide, full of caution. She held her hands close to her chest, as if hugging herself for comfort. Ethan softened his voice. "Ariel, right? You can come in? It's okay?" She hesitated for a moment, then stepped forward. Even her footsteps were silent, like she was afraid to disturb the room. I hope I'm not interrupting," she whispered, barely above a breath. "No, not at all," Ethan said gently. "I was just trying to relax. What's on your mind?" She glanced around nervously, as if expecting someone to jump out. "I just needed to see you." Ethan frowned slightly. "Is something wrong?" Ariel looked down, her soft feathers brushing against her cheeks. "I didn't choose this marriage. People forced it." Her voice trembled. "They said it was the only way to keep me safe from those who want my throne." Ethan felt a pang in his chest, stepped closer, careful not to scare her. "Safe? You mean someone's after you?" She nodded slightly. "Back home, I am. The last living heir of the Celian Skyborn. My father was killed. My uncles want power. If I return, they will try to end me too." Her eyes lifted slowly to meet his. "The marriage treaty was the only way to remove me from their reach. By becoming your wife, I am protected by the Union." Ethan's heart tightened. She wasn't a warrior like Kavera, or a cold researcher like Liza's. She was just a frightened girl caught in a political trap. "You don't have to be afraid anymore," Ethan said softly. "No one's going to hurt you here." Ariel blinked rapidly, as if holding back tears. "You say that, but you don't understand. My people are cruel when they want power. Even now, they may be planning something." Ethan thought about Kavira's blade and Liza's cold stare. He was already juggling more than he could handle, but looking at Ariel so small, so vulnerable, he felt something shift inside him. He wanted to protect her. She moved closer, timidly. "I know I'm not like your other wives. I'm not strong, I'm not brilliant. I'm just me." Her voice cracked slightly. "If you want to ignore me, I'll understand." Ethan shook his head immediately. "No, I could never ignore you. You didn't ask for this any more than I did. But now that we're stuck in it, I'll do what I can to help you. You're not alone." Ariel's golden eyes widened a little, shimmering with surprise. "You mean that?" "Yeah," he said with a small smile. "I'm not much, but I promise you this. As long as you're with me, I'll keep you safe." For the first time, Ariel smiled, just a tiny, fragile smile. "Thank you, Ethan." She stepped even closer, her soft feathers brushing against his arm like the lightest touch of a breeze. She lowered her head slightly, almost like a bird bowing. "You're kinder than I expected," she whispered. Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest. Out of all three wives, Ariel felt the most human in her emotions. He wanted to reassure her, to give her comfort in a galaxy that seemed to have abandoned her. Before he could say more, she stepped back. "I should go. If anyone saw me here too long, they might start rumors." She turned toward the door, then paused. "Good night, husband." Her voice was soft, almost shy, and then she was gone, leaving Ethan standing in the quiet room. He let out a long breath. One wife wants to fight me, one wants to dissect me, and one just wants to feel safe. He rubbed his face. What did I get myself into? But in his heart, he knew he'd protect Ariel, no matter what it cost. Ethan thought he was having a bad dream when he opened his eyes that morning. His room was already a battlefield, just not with weapons. Kavira stood near the wall, her massive arms crossed, glaring at Liz's with open hostility. The reptilian warrior's emerald scales seemed to glint sharper under the light. You are wasting time, she growled. The human needs training, not endless studying. Laziz hovered calmly, her silver eyes cold and unbothered. Training a fragile creature is pointless. He must first be examined properly, or he will break under your primitive exercises. Her voice was calm, but every word dripped with quiet superiority. Ariel sat in the corner, her wings folded tight against her body. She watched the argument nervously, eyes darting between them like a trapped bird. Please, don't fight, she whispered, but her soft voice was drowned out by the rising tension. Ethan rubbed his face, groaning. Oh no, not again. He stumbled out of bed. Okay, ladies, wives scan, we please not argue at 6 a.m? Kavira turned her golden eyes on him. Human, you're awake. Good. Today we begin true combat drills. Before Ethan could protest, Liza's floated closer, her cool blue glow brushing over him. No. Today, we will perform a deeper neural scan. Your emotional instability must be mapped before any physical stress is applied. Kavira let out a low hiss, showing sharp teeth, while you and your weak science will not keep him alive in battle. He needs strength, not brain poking. Lieza's expression didn't change. Unlike you, I prefer to understand my subject rather than smash it with claws. Subject, Kavira barked, stepping forward. He is my mate, not a toy for your experiments. I never claimed he was a toy, Liz replied in her soft, echoing tone. I am simply observing his flaws, or raised a clawed finger. Say that again? Scientist and I will stop. The sudden voice surprised them all. It was Ariel. She had stood up trembling, but her soft voice was sharper than before. You're scaring him, she said quietly. Her golden eyes turned toward Ethan, full of worry. He doesn't know our ways. He doesn't understand any of this. Please stop. For a moment, even Kavira and Lysis paused. Ethan sighed, running a hand through his messy hair.
What? Look.
I get it, you're all very different. You all want whatever it is you want from me. But I can't deal with all three of you fighting like this. I'm just one guy. I didn't even choose this marriage. There was silence. Kavira frowned, her claws lowering slightly. Slizes tilted her head, analyzing his words like data. Ariel sat back down slowly, hugging her wings. Ethan took a deep breath. Listen, I don't know how to be a husband to 3 alien wives. I'm confused, scared, and honestly, I feel like I'm just surviving one day at a time. A die. Do you know this? We're stuck together whether we like it or not. So can we at least try not to tear each other apart? Kavira looked away, her pride wounded but her expression softening just a fraction. You speak boldly for someone so weak, she muttered. Fine, I will. Restrain myself. For now. Liza's floated back, folding her glowing hands. We'll pause my deeper scans. Temporarily. Ariel exhaled softly, relief in her eyes. But before Ethan could feel victorious, the door suddenly opened. A small alien drone zipped inside, projecting a holographic message. A stern alien face appeared. It was the Galactic Chancellor, Ethan Cole. The Chancellor said in a grave voice, Your presence is required at the High Council immediately. There are complications regarding your marriages. Political unrest is brewing between the Varkesh, Ashen, and Celian delegations. You must come at once. Ethan's stomach dropped. Complications? The Chancellor's hologram flickered. Rumors say one of your wife's factions is planning a betrayal. If this conflict escalates, it could mean war between 3 great civilizations. You, human, are the only link holding them together. The message ended. Ethan looked at the 3 women in his room. Kavira's eyes narrowed. Lies's calm face twitched with faint interest. And Ariel looked pale with fear. Oh no, Ethan whispered. This is about to get so much worse. And in that moment he realized his messy little marriage wasn't just about personal survival anymore. It was about stopping an intergalactic war. The High Council chamber was colder than Ethan expected. Tall windows showed distant stars glittering in the blackness of space, but inside, the mood was heavy and tense. Aliens from many races sat around a massive circular table, but all eyes "We're on him." Ethan felt the weight of their stares like 1,000 sharp needles. His 3 wives stood beside him, Kavira, with her fierce, unyielding posture, Lisa's calm but alert, and Ariel looking fragile and scared. The Chancellor spoke first. "Ethan Cole, your marriages were intended as a symbol of unity, a way to bind 3 powerful civilizations. But we now face the threat of war. There are whispers of betrayal. If this escalates, the entire Union may collapse." Ethan swallowed hard. "I don't want war," he said quietly. "I just want peace." Kavira's eyes burned. "If our honor is threatened, there can be no peace." Liza's added in her cold voice, "We must gather intelligence. Trust is a luxury we cannot afford." Ariel looked at Ethan, trembling. "What do we do?" Ethan's mind raced. Each of his wives' peoples were old enemies, filled with suspicion and fear. Yet he was the one holding the fragile balance. He thought back to Ariel's scared eyes, to Kavira's demand for strength, to Lieza's sharp mind. Maybe their differences were the key. "I need you all," Ethan said, voice steady, despite the chaos inside him. Not as enemies, but as partners. The room quieted. He took a deep breath. "We face spies, assassins, and political lies. If we fight among ourselves, we'll lose everything. But if we work together, maybe we can find who is really trying to start this war." Kavira stepped forward, her voice low and serious. "I will protect you." Lysis nodded. "I will use my knowledge to uncover the truth." Ariel's small voice added, "I will do what I can to keep us safe." Ethan felt a flicker of hope. Then let's begin. But peace was fragile. The next days brought danger. Shadows moved in the corridors. Assassins tried to reach Ariel. Warriors prepared for battle. Lies's scans revealed secret meetings between hostile factions. Ethan barely slept. He stood between his wives and their peoples, trying to calm rising tensions. One night, as he walked the station's empty halls, a whisper stopped him. "You don't belong here," a voice hissed from the darkness. Ethan's heart pounded. He turned to see a figure vanish into the shadows. He realized then that this war wasn't just political. It was personal. But Ethan was no ordinary man. He remembered how his wives believed in him, even when he doubted himself. This wasn't just about survival. It was about proving humanity's worth, that even one person, one species, could bring hope to a divided galaxy. Ethan squared his shoulders. "I won't let this end in blood." He looked up at the stars beyond the chamber windows, feeling the weight of the future. For the first time, he understood. He was not just a pawn of the treaty, he was its guardian. The tension in the High Council chamber was nearly unbearable. Ethan stood at the center, flanked by Kavira, Lises, and Ariel. Outside, the galaxy held its breath. The peace of thousands of worlds balanced on a knife's edge, and he was the one who had to stop the fall. For days, Ethan had worked tirelessly, listening to accusations, rumors, and fears from the 3 great civilizations. Each blamed the others for sabotage and lies. The bitterness was thick enough to choke anyone, but Ethan had a plan. Not a plan built on weapons or threats, but on honesty, trust, and the simple strength of being human. "Enough," Ethan said firmly, raising his voice to silence the chamber. "This fighting will only bring ruin." Kavira's golden eyes flashed, but she did not interrupt. "Look at what this treaty has done to us," Ethan continued. "It forced us into bonds we didn't understand. But it also brought us here together. I may be weak in battle. I may be different. But I believe that our strength lies not in war, but in understanding." Lies's silver eyes studied him closely, and Ariel's soft gaze searched his face for hope. Ethan took a deep breath and looked each ambassador in the eye. "We are not enemies," he said quietly. "We are family, whether we chose it or not. If we want peace, we must listen to each other, not just shout accusations." There was silence. Then the Varkesh leader, a massive reptilian male, stepped forward. "You speak like a human, but your words ring true. I will consider your proposal." The Osean representative nodded. "Logic supports cooperation over destruction. We will delay hostile actions And the Celian envoy smiled faintly, her feathered wings folding gently. Perhaps there is hope, Ethan exhaled. It was working, but the hardest part was yet to come. He turned to his wives, Kavira, Lysis, Ariel, need your help. Not just as wives, but as allies. Together, we can unite our peoples. Kavira stepped close, her fierce gaze softer now. I will fight to protect you. Lysis gave a rare, small smile. I will lend my knowledge to your cause, Ariel's golden eyes shone with quiet courage. I will stand with you, always. With their support, Ethan addressed the council again. This time with a united front. He revealed the truth behind the tensions. Secret agents from outside the Union had been stirring discord to weaken them all. The leaders were shocked and angry, but with clear proof and honest words, Ethan persuaded them to work together to root out the saboteurs. Peace talks resumed, this time with warmth instead of suspicion. Days later, as the Galactic Union signed a new treaty of cooperation, Ethan stood beside his 3 wives, proud and hopeful. He had survived impossible odds. He had faced fear, danger, and confusion, and through it all, he had shown what humanity was capable of. Not strength of claws or cold logic, but the courage to stand together. Even when the future was uncertain, as Kavira wrapped a scaled arm around his shoulders, Lysis placed a gentle hand on his, and Ariel leaned her head against his chest. Ethan smiled. He was not just a husband. He was a symbol. A reminder that even the most unlikely hero could change the fate of a galaxy.